we said this the other day. I feel like we made some improvements. I think they showed up immediately in the game Saturday. I thought we battled a really good pitcher on Sunday and then carried it over to tonight. And it's hard to hit, but I feel pretty good about where we're headed there.
It seems like you guys are just driving the ball more
Yeah.
consistently and hitting the ball into gaps. I mean, Tommy's example A of that,
Yeah.
he had 4 hits today, just continues to keep on mowing along, right?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, he's one of the best, if not the best hitter in college baseball, and you knew it was only a matter of time. And like I said, it's a tough game to take off 6.5 months off and just kind of hit your stride, and then but he's starting to now, and that's perfect timing.
You said you wanted to make some adjustments with the pitching staff after this past weekend. What did you sort of see today in terms of putting those into practice?
Yeah, I think we have to be really convicted in what we're doing, both with who we're putting in games win. So that's me. That's 100% me. They need to be convicted in what they're throwing and how they're throwing it and why they're throwing it, because the right pitch is not as good as the wrong pitch if you're throwing the wrong pitch with conviction. And I think we did that a lot better tonight, and that's a multi-layered responsibility. But we got guys with talent, as we've seen, and they needed to get on the throttle a little bit better than they did this weekend. And we searched through a lot of things. We feel like we have some answers into maybe why they struggled a little bit, and the ones that we feel like we can really control. We made just a couple adjustments, and it's a staff-wide deal, but they've been really good to this point. They were not good at all this weekend. I thought they were really good tonight. I'm really, really pleased with that effort from the mound tonight, and it's good because it's going to give us more options, of what to do in these SEC weekends. And we've pitched well to this point, but that was a really encouraging sign tonight against a really good team.
You mentioned some things that you guys sort of discovered recently, and if not tonight, what were some of those things?
Like I said, I think more than anything, I felt like a couple guys backed off when they had a chance to put hitters away this weekend. And they got fought hard. They got punched back for the first time in a while, because going into that series, we hadn't been scored on a whole lot. I think it was 0 the game before, or 1 the game before that, 2 the game before that, 2, 0, 3. And then in Houston, I thought we pitched really well. And so somebody punched back at them. And I don't think we responded with the right fashion, from the mound. And tonight was more like that. And that, again, that's a good team. They have 16 wins already, so it's a good win. And I hope they learn some things, from that failure this weekend.
Talk about Ethan, got the at-bat there. How's he progressing?
I think he's progressing good. We'll challenge him tomorrow with some live at bats. Challenge him on the machine a little bit to check on his availability for the weekend. We obviously want to get him going. The next couple weeks, him being available would be a huge lift to this team.
Obviously, he struck out there. How long does that time take?
I don't feel like he's been out that long personally. Like 10 days is not an eternity, and we do a lot of game simulated stuff. I think it's about him swinging with the right intensity. He's not going to hurt it any worse. Like, that's why we're okay to try to get him back in there. But it's just, getting that conviction, and he's got great bat speed. And so, we want to get into and tap into that bat speed.
Along with Ethan Frey, Ashton Larson has come in a lot of times as like a pinch hit. How important is it for those young guys to come in and give in good at-bats?
Well, it is important, because the better they do, the more opportunities, we can push for them this year. But, like, those two need to be guys next year. And they're plenty capable of being frontline players in this program. Like, they're plenty capable of it. So as much experience as we can get for them, that's a big deal.
With your established weekend guys who you threw today, I'm just like Fidel and Griffin and one other, Justin. What's your thought process of throwing guys like that on a midweek game?
Well,
this?
that's a huge RPI win tonight, because their winning percentage now is involved in our RPI. And so that's one of the most valuable non-conference games remaining on our schedule. Number one. Number two, I don't like losing, and we lost on Sunday. And, now the other part is we don't have a second midweek. We have 2 days of recovery. You have, your best pitcher going on Friday, who we trust to get deep in the game. We didn't use a couple guys that will have a full week that are part of that. It just is the right thing to do.
I was just wondering why those guys and not some other guys who you could throw. Maybe not towards even the back end, just other top.
Well,
guys,
I mean, I think I mentioned it. Maybe it was in the radio show. Maybe it wasn't in the interview. But Moffitt, we feel like, has a chance to move up the ladder. Johnson obviously has a chance to move up the ladder, and you saw good performances out of those guys tonight. Bucknam, I think, has a chance to move back up the ladder. So there's still a lot of competition. You know what I mean? And I want guys that are going to throw with conviction and throw some out pitches. And those guys that threw tonight, after those guys that you mentioned, they could all move up the ladder. So, I was kind of disappointed in the 10-run rule. I mean, I know that sounds like a first world problem, but we were going to use 3 guys in the 9th inning. And, Cade Woods was going to start it and go in for 2 hitters, and then Sam Dutton, and then DJ, because those guys are good too. And so it just happy with how the offense performed, really happy with how all those guys performed. Jaden just got sick, shortly before the game and really got off track. I'm really proud of him for getting through that first inning the way that he did. That was a big deal. And then us to score 5, and then he was out of gas, back out there in the second inning. And you gotta admire the want to go out there and pitch even when you're not feeling good, but we got to get him healthy and ready for the weekend too.
What did you like from? I guess how Cam and Micah in particular improved since some of their earlier outings?
Yeah, Micah had a great first outing, and then I was so encouraged by it. Like, he had 1 day off, and then we tried to put him out there again, and we didn't, we just didn't set him up very good for success in the second outing. And then we went to Houston, and, those games, we kind of went with the guys that were at the top of the ladder at that time. And then the Xavier, North Dakota, it was just kind of like a weird week. And so we were taking them one at a time. We weren't in this flow I think we're about to get into on offense, so it was just the opportunities weren't there. But I have a lot of trust in him, and I mean that. Those 3 guys that I mentioned in particular, they can jump up the ladder, and move into, weekend time in the SEC and be very effective. And I wanted to get them on the mound again tonight and against a good team and see them perform, and all 3 of them did that.
Is it more of a mental thing for them to be able to move the ladder, or is it kind of, like it's physical?
Yeah, I think most of it is between the ears. I mean, we have a pretty sound deal for where we want to head now. Like I said, we're back in tune offensively. I think we just need to stay committed to the plan that we have right now. I think defensively we need to play better. Like, we need to play with better concentration. We'll work on some things tomorrow specifically to that. And pitching, we have to be convicted in what we're doing. And I think if we can do that in each phase of those things, we're going to play better baseball, and we're going to need to. I mean, it's big boy baseball here for the rest of the way.
Cam got to use a slider a little bit more. Is that a pitch you sort of want to?
100%. He couldn't miss the glove yesterday. We had him throw a light pin on the field yesterday in getting him prepared for today, and we obviously got to get him out there more. Like, I mean, he's one of, if not the most talented guy on the staff. I think he's starting to develop, and it was only a matter of time because we saw it all fall long, and we feel lucky to have gotten him here. And it's a steep hill, showing up at this place right now, and he's starting to climb that mountain in a really good way.
I guess what's the next step for him in his development?
Just get him out there, back-to-back days now,
Okay.
And that type of thing. And but I like where we're headed. I really do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.